Hello, friends from around the world. My name is G,
And I'm Hector.
and we're here to talk about our picks for the February 6th, 2023 FOC. Hector and we manage sales into the direct comic book market around the world. So the titles that you'll see today are those that we can sell into those markets. And aside from this YouTube channel, we also are on other social media platforms. So check us out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at PRH International Comics. We'll post some updates and news, cool releases that are coming out. So definitely comment down below on this video and on those other social media sites as well. So actually, we'll get started with some of our picks for like trade, collected edition slash mangas, and then we'll go into our cover picks. And as always, we'll end with announcements. So up first,
Yep. It's one of my picks. It's Poison Ivy, Volume 1, The Virtuous Circle by G. Willow Wilson, illustrated by Marcio Takara. Now, first of all, let's mention that here in PRH we put the DC titles, the FOC, once a month instead of spread out through a month. So this week it's a lot of DC because they're all FOC on this Monday. So I just wanted to mention that in case you were wondering why G and I picked so many DC titles this time. Also, so this one goes on sale May 16. This is one of my favorite reads from last year. I collected this on single issues, and it's interesting because I love Batman. I love all the characters around Batman. I love Harley Quinn. I love so many Nightwing, obviously, and it's not that I don't like Poison Ivy. I do like Poison Ivy, but I never loved her until I read this. This made me love Poison Ivy as a character. This is such a great story. It takes Pamela outside of Gotham. She is broken up from Harley, so she deals a little bit with that. But she's also there's something going on. I don't want to spoil it because you guys need to read it, but she is going across country and she is dealing with something, and she is as always trying to save the planet, trying to save nature, the green. Um, but you know, she always says she has to eliminate humanity to do so. So there's that conflict. G. Willow Wilson does such an amazing job as always, and deals with a lot of topics about what it is, whether saving the planet versus she's dealing with whether she really has human feelings, if she really can relate to other people. Is Harley Quinn the only human that she loves? So it deals with a lot of that, but it's also a very cool sort of she's an eco-terrorist, so you're following this eco-terrorist that you kind of like, she is killing and she's trying to eliminate humanity, but at the same time you see sort of her humanity coming out. So it's a very, very cool story. This collects the first arc, which is issues 1 through 6, but the story still is continuing. I think they're up to issue 9. I think it's the last one I read. So it's very cool because it's going to continue her journey. So I highly recommend it. There were so many great covers for this. So I'm hoping that they're included in here because they're amazing covers by Jenny Frison and by Denvi Nakayama, there were so many artists that got involved with the art and the covers. So I highly recommend it. It's definitely well, not just one of my picks for this week, month. It's like year, really. It's really, really good.
mhm. So my pick is the new champion of Shazam by the creators Josie Campbell and Doc Shaner on art. And this is, I really love this story.
Mhm.
If you are aware of what happened in the events of Shazam to Hell and Back, it kind of comes off of that. I mean, you can read this without having read that. I mean, that's actually the case in my case. I read this without having read To Hell and Back, but I do recommend it because you'll get more information about it, and we do have that available for you to pick up as well. But basically, not to really spoil it, although you kind of need to spoil it to be able to, it's not a huge spoiler, but basically, an event happens to Helen Back, which kind of forces Mary in this situation, even though she doesn't want to, because at this point, the whole family lost their powers. And she's okay with living her life as just like a normal like person, like getting
Mhm.
ready to go to college and everything, and she's really set on that. And then suddenly this she meets her new roommates, and this bunny starts talking to her, making her look crazy because everyone just sees her and they're like, why is she talking to this bunny? And she's put in this situation where she really wants to just lead a normal life, but is forced into a situation where, she has to become the superhero. And it's a really it's a heartwarming story, as is a lot of Shazam titles. I'm a huge fan. And I really like in this story, she really is trying to come into herself in terms of like who she is and like what her role is as a hero. There is this wonderful scene that I cannot that I can't stop thinking about. And it's her like running through the frames, but it's like frames of photographs, because it's
Mhm.
easier for other people to see who she is, like in terms of like an upstanding, like straight A honor student who is, always plans things out, have everything together, and it seems like that. But when you see the frames of the photographs, it's like zoomed in weirdly, as if it's not showing a true picture. It's like so well done. It's out of focus in a way, and that's kind of the way that she kind of sees her self and identity. So it's great. I'm like talking on and on about this, but I truly think this is this is a gem that you see
Yeah.
here. There are 4 issues in this collected edition, and in this hardcover. And at the end, it does lead into the Lazarus Planets We Once Were Gods, which is a one shot that I think came out last week. If you do want to read that, there's that. But as this 4 issue story, it's really good
Yeah.
on its own merits, and I really really like it. And yeah, highly recommend reading it.
I I
Sure.
want to comment because I'm also a big fan of this one, and I also want to mention that Mary Marvel. I'm glad that DC is doing a lot with Mary Marvel and her character, not just in this but all across the DC universe. Even on DC versus Vampires, she plays a big part of it. Um, but I do want to mention that my absolute favorite of this, obviously, is the bunny, and
Funny.
and the fact it's not her bunny, it's her
Yeah,
roommate's
her bunny.
bunny. So she's not only people think that she's crazy because
Yeah.
she's talking to a bunny, but that she's stealing a bunny, that she's kidnapping a bunny because she has to, the bunny keeps following her, but they keep finding her. It's like, why do you have my bunny? Are you kidnapping my bunny? So that was a lot of fun too to watch.
Oh, the bunny is great. Is it
Yep.
Hopper?
Hopper
Hoppy?
or Hoppy,
Hoppy?
Hoppy.
I think it's
I think
Hoppy.
it's Hoppy. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's Hoppy.
yeah.
The bunny is great. So
It's awesome.
it's great. I really love this. So yeah, yeah,
Yes.
so that's my pick.
Next up, it's DC Pride, the new generation, obviously by various artists and illustrators. But just to give you a taste, Devin Grayson, Ivan Cohen, Tina Howard, Greg Lockhart, Alisa Wong, Stephanie Phillips, Danny Lohr, Stephanie Williams. I mean, there's so many. I'm not going to be able to mention all of them, but I do want to mention that this also includes Kevin Conroy wrote a story. The late Kevin Conroy wrote a story in this book, which is one of the reasons I really love this book. I also want to mention that this is it includes not just the one-shot DC Pride, but it also includes a story from Multiversity Teen Justice, uh, which they have a story in here, so it includes part of that too. So this it's an I mean they've been doing this for a few years already, for Pride Month. DC is. And obviously, other publishers do their own thing. Marvel does their own thing, and some of the other independents do. They kind of do a Pride thing. And it's become not just a celebration of diversity, but it also, on top of that, it's not just the characters and the creators, but also it's become a great opportunity to introduce characters. And this one is not an exception. It's actually this year is very big. So they did this year. They introduced macro, and micro, which are two, I think they're twins, and they're villains. They also introduced the multiversity, some of the characters, but especially Raven from Earth 11, which I talked in another video that we did for collected editions of all multiversity Team Justice from Earth 11, which is amazing. You need to check it out. But there's a story here that then leads into that story for the miniseries. Um, but it also introduces what has become very quickly one of my favorite new characters is Dreamer. Neonal, uh, who has the powers of she sees the future in her dreams, and also on top of that, she can control electricity, and she also can locate somebody, and if they're sleeping, get there, transport themselves and you through their dreams. She has become a very big part um, of the Lazarus Planet. So what's happening right now in DC and the big event, she has a big part in it. So check it out. But she's also very cool, like powers, but she has a very cool personality because it's not one of those I'm gonna attack and take over uh kind of superheroes. She's sort of one of those. It's one of those where, okay, let's think about this, let's plan it out, this is what's going to happen. She sees the future, so, and she sees the future changing, so in her dreams, so she can see if what you're doing is changing the future or not. So it's one of the big reasons. The other one, which I mentioned, was Kevin Conroy does such a amazing story, and he passed away right at, last year after this came out, of him and as an artist in an industry, uh that wasn't, is now doing a lot of big steps towards diversity and inclusion, but it wasn't that way. And how about him, having to hide that, about a gay person playing one of the most sort of macho characters out there, the voice of Batman. And if you ask any fan of Batman, they will tell you Kevin Conroy, that is the voice, that is Batman, of course. So it is a very amazing story, very sweet story. It's not about a superhero. It's about him and in the industry and how he got into it and how he and his life and how he dealt with his life, which is great. So I think everybody needs to read that story. In the very least, you need to read that story. So highly, highly recommend this one. I love what DC is doing with these every year. I really hope they keep doing them and they keep expanding them for sure.
Mhm. If we're gonna go along that line of LGBT plus reads, this is another one that you may want to take a look at. This is Amongst Us, Book One, Soulmates by Shilin Huang. I gotta say, Shilin Huang is probably like it's crazy how talented they are. They not only are an artist, they're self-taught, and also they're a pianist as well. So if you look on their YouTube channel, you'll see that They'll play music and also do like time-lapse videos of their art as well. Very beautiful art. Like literally, like the cover art that you're seeing here is what you'll see on the interior as well. And I do have some images to show you. If you're not sure about Shilin Huang, I could be wrong on the year, but it's been a while since she's been around. There is another long running series called Cars Carsiphone?
Mhm.
Carsiphona. Carsiphona, there we go. I think back in like the late 2000s. I'm pretty sure she got the idea around that time. It's around that time. It's been a while ago. If I remember correctly. And she has a whole bunch of fans that love that storyline or that those stories, and that leans toward fantasy. What this is it takes like these two characters from Carsiphona, Velis and Blackbird, but puts them in like a alternative reality where they're like a modern couple who just is enjoying life together. It's like a slice of life kind of thing, which is great for fans who kind of want to see like basically in the other in the other reality, one is a sorceress, and the other is an assassin. And in this reality, they're just kind of like normal people going about their daily lives, which is great. It's just like really wholesome to read through. This is a from a web comic, so we're putting out our Seven Seas, I should say, is putting out the physical copies here. And on the next page, you can see some of the interior images. It's just very sweet and very relatable. Like in that image where she's like looking at this beautiful cake, and she's like, "Oh my God, look at the price tag. I must have it though." And like they're at a mall and she's just like, I'm gonna eat it here in case like I don't want anything to happen from the mall all the way home because like you never know, I could trip and fall and get like hurt trying to save this cake. I need to eat it now. It's just like very relatable scenes as it's playing out here. Really love it. Art is beautiful. This is something that you
Yeah,
should definitely check out. Yeah. So, oh, and
very
then next
cool.
up is
Very cool.
cover pics here.
Yeah, and we don't have a lot of time for cover picks, so we only have a couple this week. But X-23 Deadly Reginus is number one. Momoko variant. This is a big book, obviously. A new series with Laura X-23 Wolverine. And I had to pick this. It's Momoko, but it's also Laura running just kind of feral through the forest, which is a very, very X-23 thing with the claws out and the hair from, kind of flapping in the air. It's very beautiful. Yes, this beautiful art from Momoko.
Mhm. All right, my cover pick is New Mutants Lethal Legion issue number one, Ganacho variant. This is a 1 in 25. This is cool. You have Escapade on the cover here, and Escapade, if you know about her power set, she's she's also, just so you're aware, first appearance of Escapade was in Marvel Voices Pride. Believe she's considered as the first transgender superhero mutant. And her abilities is basically either switching physical locations with another person or like can trade physical physical all, as well as abstract attributes. So as you'll see here, she took the claws.
Yeah,
And then you see like Wolverine kind of like
and like
disgruntled behind.
he's not amused by it.
He's not impressed at all.
Yeah.
So this is cool. I definitely want to read this. I am so glad that they kept on Charlie Jane Anders on at least writing, because Charlie Jane Anders was an integral part of bringing Escapade into existence. So next up.
Next up is Wakanda for Yulin Shaw, Natasha Brewster's second printing variant. I don't think we've ever talked about second printing. on our picks. Not because they're not good. It's just, we pick what we like the best. But this one,
Mhm.
I had to pick it. I I love that they're using interior art. So the artist Julian Shaw and Natasha Bustos um, are artists from the interior of the book, and this is art from, I think it is taken from the interior of the book. So these books, Wakanda, if you don't know, are it's a 5-issue miniseries, and the 5th issue just came out this week, and each issue has 2 stories, and the first story concentrates on one of the characters from Wakanda. The second one, it's the ancient history of Wakanda before T'Challa became the Black Panther. So this one became a big thing. Speculators really went wild with this one because it features, the first story is Tosin, who's a new character that was introduced last year in a second story of Black Panther #3. And there's a lot of speculation about who he could be and what he is, but he also introduced this whole other tribe within Wakanda, that what you see on his body, that's vibranium. So they do tattoos with vibranium, and that gives them power rather than having a suit of vibranium. But this one also introduces Kime, who's right there on the cover, who's his love interest, and she's awesome. And you see those powers there got also vibranium related, but with a little bit of magic in there. The story is really good. The cover is amazing. It has a lot of speculation. The bottom part of the cover is from the history of Wakanda, which is, like I said, the second story in these books. I got my copy of Toasting on the cover from when this came out first. So I highly recommend you picking out. Sorry for the glare. I should have shut my my window. Um, but this is not only a great cover, great artist, that I think it's cool that they put him on the covers, but I think we can speculate on this. I think it's gonna be big. People are really gonna be looking for this.
Mhm. And next up for my pick is X-Men 20, Alex Ross, Timeless, Dark Phoenix Virgin variant. Looks like I didn't put the ratios, but that was my mistake.
Yeah,
But I was too mesmerized by the cover.
yeah, that's so
I
beautiful.
I really don't know what to say. It's just beautiful. Like
I mean, it's
it
Alex Ross.
speaks
Yeah,
for itself.
yeah,
Alex Ross,
very
gorgeous.
cool, very cool.
Love the hair.
Yes,
Just very gorgeous. So that's all I really had to say about it. I just wanted to like slip this in because I'm like, you cannot not notice this. This is
exactly.
fantastic. All right, and then we end on some piece of news, and I'm like so excited for this one. I have to
Yep.
talk about it, so I like forced myself to put this in the end
You're
here.
as excited about this news as a girl in a mall looking at a cake through a window.
Yeah. This is Skipped and Loafer. So there was news that came out with the announcement of the anime premiere sometime in April of this
Mhm.
year. Cannot wait. You'll see the volume 1 of Skip and Loafer here. If you haven't read it, what are you doing? You need to read it. Really quickly in terms of the premise, although you probably already heard me talk about this. Basically, Mitsumi, who is the girl in the front of the cover here, is a country girl. She goes to a school in Tokyo, the big city, and she's super excited, very ambitious, to the point where she's kind of really awkward. Her goal is one day to like help her community by becoming like a government official. Like she wants to be in government to help the people that she loves in her community. And then you'll see this other guy, her classmate, who's like the popular kid, not awkward like she is. People love him, but he has his own sort of like internal issues that you get to see as you're reading through. His name is Sasuke. She gets amused by him because he looks like her pet dog. Anyway, they
Oh,
released some character designs in anticipation for the anime that's coming out. So you have Mitsumi and Sasuke here, both great characters. I love the core friendship group that you see here. It's just so fun to read through. It's so heartwarming. Then you have Yuzuki and Mika. Mika is probably one of my favorite characters. She's like someone that you kind of hate, but also can not hate because you kind of understand the insecurities that she has as you're reading through. And then finally, also love this character, you have Makoto, who's great. So these are some of the character designs. Is that exactly as I mentioned it? They look exactly like the ones from the manga.
Yeah.
So this is great. So yeah, that's a little bit of piece of news that we have for this week. And that concludes our picks for this week. As always, we have a lot of fun doing this. Comment down below, especially with any other picks, if you like also love it, have read some of it before, or if you have your own picks for this week, let us know. And yeah, definitely come back next week because we do this on a weekly basis. And yeah, enjoy your days, everybody.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.